Welcome to the 2021 Utility Damage Prevention Virtual Meeting. My name is Brad Berglund. I'm a Customer Service Manager with Wisconsin Public Service and We Energies, and I'll be your host throughout the meeting. I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time out of their busy schedules to join us today. Everyone attending today should come away from the meeting with an understanding of how to dig safely around utility lines and learn what some of the best practices are to keep your crews safe. Please feel free to ask questions as we go throughout the presentation. Click on the Engage tab directly above the video player to type in your questions. You will be prompted to enter your name the first time you click on the tab. We will answer questions at the end of the presentation. We also want you to participate in the quizzes that we will present. These will pop up throughout the session, and you can use the same Engage tab to submit your answers. We will reveal the results at the end of the presentation. Don't forget to take some time afterwards to visit the virtual exhibit hall by clicking on the Exhibitors button on the left side of the homepage, if you are unable to do so prior to the meeting. You can contact representatives who are staffing the exhibits to answer your questions by using the chat feature on the right side of the screen of the exhibitor or by emailing them at the email link on their exhibit page. They can answer your questions and provide additional safety information. Remember, when you engage with a virtual exhibit, chat or email with staff, view a video, or download a document, you will automatically be registered to win a $25 gift card. The gift card drawing will be held after the meeting, and winners will be contacted via email. Cards will be sent to you in the mail. Links to the meeting survey will be available at the end of the session. Remember that everyone who submits a completed survey will be entered into a drawing for a $100 gift card to Quick Trip. Our focus every year is to promote safe digging practices. However, after reading this year's report released by Common Ground Alliance in October, we are concerned to learn that incidents across the U.S. are up 4.5% over 2018. That is over 530,000 damages. With that in mind, we want to make sure that you leave this session with a renewed awareness of how to safely manage every job, every day, when it comes to utility damage prevention. As we learned throughout the course of the last year, we continue to rely on technology to meet our day-to-day needs for work, school, and even getting necessities like buying groceries. It is because of this reliance on technology that more and more utility services are added to the ground every day. This is also why we all need to be even more critical around these lines as we dig. Common Ground Alliance, an association devoted to underground utility damage and prevention, estimates that there are over 20 million miles of facilities buried underground across the United States. That is enough pipe, conduit, fiber, and wire to wrap the earth 800 times. With so many more miles of utilities buried underground, it's important for us to make every effort to avoid disrupting the services people rely upon as we dig. Even though many groups around the country work to improve digging safety, a facility is damaged every 9 minutes. You can reduce your chances of hitting a line to less than 1% by calling Diggers Hotline every time you dig. I see damages weekly that occur without the excavator ever calling in a digger's ticket. Calling in a locate request can prevent damage like this incident in Sun Prairie. As you may recall, in 2018, a crew installing communication lines was digging on another company's locate request and hit a gas line, which led to an explosion in downtown Sun Prairie. A first responder was killed, others were injured, and the city had to rebuild. Hits like this impact more than just the job site. They can alter families and the community forever. Digging safely is important from a worker safety standpoint, but it's also important because it is the law. Wisconsin Statute 182.0175 mandates that any person intending to excavate must call Diggers Hotline 3 days in advance of digging and take every precaution to avoid disturbing facilities and be prepared to properly handle an emergency if a facility is damaged. We will take a look at all of these aspects of the law and how you can make sure you are following it on every job. In addition, a damaged utility facility can be extremely expensive to repair. There can be financial as well as physical damages associated with not calling Diggers Hotline. If you do not follow the law when digging near natural gas or other hazardous materials, the owners of that line may file a complaint to the Public Service Commission. The PSC will determine if Statute 182.0175 has been violated, and their finding could result in required training and/or a fine up to $25,000 per day. Remember that all stakeholders, not just excavators, are subject to these enforcement rules. And these potential penalties are just the state's enforcement program if you damage a natural gas line. Insurance premiums, property loss, loss of business claims, and loss of your reputation are all added consequences. So how do you prevent line hits? It starts by using the free services that Diggers Hotline provides. Let's learn more about what Diggers Hotline is and how you can use this service to stay safe. Diggers Hotline was established as a nonprofit in 1976 to increase worker and public safety and to prevent damage to underground facilities. Diggers Hotline sends information provided by callers planning digging projects to utility owners so underground utilities on the excavation site can be identified. Diggers Hotline is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can visit www.diggershotline.com or call 811 to contact them. After receiving a locate request, the utility owner or the contracted locating service, like USIC or Vanguard, visits the site and determines the precise location of the utility's underground lines. This service is offered free of charge. It's important to note here that the locate requests the Diggers Hotline process do not include the location of private lines. Things like electric lines to property outbuildings or propane lines are examples of lines that need to be located by contracting with a private locator. You can find a list of locating companies at the Diggers Hotline exhibit. Remember that Diggers Hotline does not do the actual utility locating. The utilities or their contractors do. Diggers Hotline can always be accessed via phone, but increasingly, Diggers Hotline is seeing more tickets filed online than over the phone. If you haven't yet, you will want to try accessing Diggers Hotline via their online portals. The portals they have developed for excavators are the Pro Portal and Portal Lite. Both options allow you to enter your locate request information on your own time, allowing you to avoid peak telephone call times when there might be a wait. With Pro Portal, you are making a commitment to do some free online training and pass a brief test so that you can eventually file any ticket type, including relocates. You will also be able to do your own mapping of your job sites. Portal Lite is a more basic version of Pro Portal. There is no training or test required, but you do have access to a navigation guide should you need it. You may only file standard or planning tickets and not relocates. Diggers Hotline will handle the mapping. As a utility, WPS and We Energies and our contractors call in a lot of tickets throughout the year. Utilizing the portals is a huge time saver. Signing up for one of the portals is easy. From the Diggers Hotline homepage, click on the green computer icon at the top of the page that says Portal Login where the red arrow is pointing. There you will be directed to this page. You can sign up by clicking the link on the top right of the page where the red arrow is pointing. This will bring you to the sign up page. Fill your basic information into the web form and then choose on the left which portal you are signing up for, Pro Portal or Portal Lite. Member Portal is for utility members, so you can ignore it. Don't forget that you can also look up your tickets from the portal login page without actually using either of the portals. Just click the Find Tickets link on the left side of the page. You will be directed to enter your ticket number on the left side of the next page. Hit search and you will be able to view your ticket. You will hear me refer to locate requests and tickets as we go through this presentation, so let me explain each. A locate request is filed for a work site, and from that request, a ticket is produced as your proof that you made a locate request. Many people use these terms interchangeably, as we will do here today. We're going to get into some specific ticket type information in a few minutes, but there are some general ticket rules to keep in mind. The company digging must have a ticket. No exceptions. Keep the Sun Prairie incident in mind if you ever need a reminder. For most locates, only one address is permitted per ticket, although there are exceptions that we will discuss shortly. A best practice is to have the ticket on the worksite so it's accessible if there is a hit. You can then prove a locate was requested. Utility locators do not locate private lines such as propane. You need to ask the client if there are private lines on the site and then pay to have them located. Diggers Hotline provides a list of locators across the state on the website or at their exhibit. And again, remember that Diggers Hotline does not do the actual locates. Many contractors work with or as subcontractors on many jobs. Juggling many jobs can get hectic, and you might be tempted to just let one of the other companies on site take care of the locate request to simplify your life. However, it's unlikely that you would trust anyone but your own crew to run your machines and do the digging, so do not trust others to file your tickets. Someone else might not know the site or understand where you will be digging, which could lead to a line hit if it's marked in the wrong spot. Before you contact Digger's Hotline, be sure you understand the questions you will need to answer. For the most part, it is pretty basic information about your company, the job location, and the job itself. Company information will include your company's name and address and the field contact's information. Be sure to provide a number for the field contact that is reachable after hours and that it is not the office phone. The ticket filer will need to provide their information as well. If you are a frequent caller, you can provide your phone number to the operator and many fields will autofill, saving you from repeating them. The operator will simply confirm what is on file. You will need to identify where you are working, including the county and municipality as well as the address. For mapping purposes, you will need to indicate the intersection closest to the worksite and the distance and direction of your worksite from that intersection. Finally, under job details, you will need to say who you are doing the work for, as well as what type of work it is and if the work will involve explosives, tall equipment, or boring equipment. In the process of completing the ticket, you will be asked to provide marking instructions to the locating teams. This is an important field on the locate request, as clear instructions help locators get more tickets done each day, keeping you on schedule. Remember to be as specific as possible in defining the area. The more you narrow down the area to be marked, the less time the locate will take to complete. Avoid saying mark entire lot when only a portion of the lot needs to be located. The entire lot will take much longer to mark than just one part of it. Use distances and directions from a point. For instance, pick a landmark or point on the site and indicate how far around or in what direction you need the area marked. To be even more clear, use white flags or paint to show the locator where your dig site is. Then, there will be no confusion. Once your ticket has been issued, remember that it will remain valid as long as you start work within 10 days of the stated start day and time, and provided that there are no work stoppages over 10 days. If you do not meet these two parameters, your ticket is invalid and the site will need to be relocated. There are a variety of locate requests used for different purposes. For a full list, be sure to download an excavator guide at the Digger's Hotline exhibit or at the Digger's Hotline website. Locate requests can be categorized as new and relocate. New is for a project never located before, and relocate is an update to a ticket that was already filed. The first type of locate is the standard locate. Like many of the ticket types we will discuss, it requires you to contact Digger's Hotline at least 3 working days before you begin your project. You are limited to 1 address per locate request. The company or person digging must have their own ticket. The job must start within 10 days of the ticket start date and time, and there must be no work stoppages longer than 10 days, or the ticket is no longer valid and a relocate must be requested. There are several variations on that standard ticket, including stretch of road, emergency, appointment, multiple vertical dig site, and project. Each type is designed for different excavation types. Let's look at the stretch of road locate request first. It is used for utility or municipal work along a single road. It is limited at 2 miles or less. There's a maximum radius of 100 feet at intersections. It is used for projects such as utility main burial, replacement, shoulder grading, and pole replacement, etc. Note, additional tickets will be required for installation of service laterals or if project turns onto a different street. The emergency locate request is used for necessary excavation due to life or death situations or repairs of leaking or out of service utilities, or to secure unstable conditions and prevent property damage. Utilities have 1 hour after notice to respond. Keep in mind, sometimes it takes longer than an hour, but the utility will call with a response time and to clarify the issue. Scheduling issues do not constitute an emergency, so use this only when it is warranted. Remember that locators are called from normally scheduled jobs to attend to emergencies, which may delay tickets already in process. The next group of locate requests fall under the umbrella of appointment locate requests. Generally, appointment locate requests are for large and complex projects. Allot time for excavators and locators to meet to discuss scheduling of locates. Each address continues to have its own ticket. Locator has 3 days from appointment to locate, making it, in total, a 6-day ticket. The multiple vertical dig site locate request is used for multiple dig sites within one municipality. For projects such as tree planting, staking, utility pole and signpost installation, and boring projects. The contractor works closely with the locator to provide project map or list of addresses to ensure locator has enough time to accurately mark the facilities. Allot time for a meeting between the excavator and locator to schedule locates. This is also a 6-day ticket. The project locate request is used for large excavations needing multiple and repeated visits from locators. Excavator and locator will meet to set up locating schedule, which will be signed by all parties, aka the meet sheet. Excavator should contact locator directly throughout the duration of the project for relocates. If parameters of the agreement aren't being met by the locators, the excavator can still contact Digger's Hotline for a relocate ticket. This is an example of the meet sheet template that is used to document the outcome of the project appointment. It confirms the locate agreement, includes marking instructions, and is signed by both parties. You can download the template from the Digger's Hotline exhibit or their website. The next group of locate requests are the relocates. These are requested when marks have faded over time and need to be updated. Work hasn't started within 10 days or was interrupted for more than 10 days, and marks were not made as requested or are confusing and need to be redone. There are a few different relocate requests for different circumstances. Let's take a look at them. First is the crew on site relocate. This is used when your crew is either on site or en route to the site. Utilities will have 1 hour to respond to the request. There will be no digging until the site has been marked. Next is the 24-hour relocate. This is used if a valid ticket needs to be relocated but crew is not on site. A new start date and time is issued that is 24 hours from the current time. Finally, we have the no-show relocate. It is the newest of the relocate requests. It is used when there has been no utility response by specific utilities and the crew is on site. Utilities have 1 hour to respond. Only those utilities who have not responded will be sent the relocate request. The no-show relocate allows Digger's Hotline to track those utilities who repeatedly have to have relocate notices reissued, allowing diggers to measure performance. If you need to know which utilities were notified on your locate request, check the bottom of your ticket where you will find the members notified list. The phone numbers are either for the utility or their contracted locating company. Remember, you can do an online ticket lookup anytime on the Digger's Hotline website as we discussed earlier. Let's take a break for our first quick quiz. Click the Engage button above to open the quiz. Choose the correct answer, and we will reveal the right answers at the end of the session. Those who score 5 answers correctly will be entered into a drawing for a $50 Speedway gift card. You arrive at the excavation site to find there are no utility locator marks. Your coworker assures you Digger's Hotline was notified. What do? Number 1, go ahead and start the work. The job has to be done today. Number 2, ask your boss to call Digger's Hotline again. Ask for a new assignment until the utilities are marked. Number 3, hand dig until you find some utilities yourself, then excavate around them with your heavy equipment. Again, answer 1, 2, or 3 and hit submit. We'll check out answers at the end of the session. Now back to our presentation. Last year, Digger's Hotline unveiled a new program called Positive Response. It is meant to provide locate status information to excavators. Digger's Hotline users can check the status of their locate request either online using the ticket search we talked about before, or by the emails that Digger's Hotline sends. It's voluntary for Digger's Hotline members to use, so not all utilities are participating. Members who are not joining Positive Response are labeled as not participating on the member notification list. Members who do not join are still required to respond to your locate requests. They just will not provide the status of the locate. There are numerous Positive Response status messages that you will see on your ticket. They are color-coded in either green, red, or black. Let's take a look at them in detail. First are the green messages, which indicate that a utility is participating in Positive Response and that they have completed the work. Messages include: marked complete. The locator is done. System cleared complete. No lines are detected at your dig site in the utilities mapping software. No conflict complete. Locator detected no lines and no marking will be done. Canceled, corrected, updated. If ticket has been canceled, corrected, or updated, it will reflect this message. Then there are the red messages, which indicate that the utility is participating but that there is some delay in completing the work. Ongoing, working with excavator. Locator and excavator are in contact but marks are not complete. Not marked, delay. Locator is not marked due to some circumstances like weather. Not marked, response pending. Locator is not responded by start date and time but plans to locate. Finally, the black messages indicate that the utility is not participating. Closed by DHL. System response generated if utility is not located by 14 days after start date and time. Not participating. Member is not joining in positive response. Remember that positive response is simply a means to obtain status information that Digger's Hotline could not provide in the past. If you are missing marks, you can continue to contact the utility or their locator for status. Utilize the no-show relocate we talked about earlier to help us monitor those utilities who repeatedly do not complete locates on time. Once you get confirmation that the site is marked, how do you interpret the flag and paint colors and codes? Locators use the American Public Works Association color coding system for marking underground facilities. Look for these colors on your job site after the locators have visited and note the utility they represent. Yellow, gas and oil, petroleum and steam. Red is electric. Orange, communication, cable, TV, alarm or signal. Blue is water, irrigation or slurry lines. Green, sewer and drain lines. White, proposed excavation. Be sure to download a utility color code card at the Digger's Hotline exhibit after the session. In addition to the colored paint and flags, locators may also use facility and material abbreviations to indicate which facilities are present on your job site. Some of the common ones are E for electric, G for gas, and W for water. You can see the rest of the abbreviations here. You may also see some of these common underground construction descriptions. C for conduit, HP for high pressure, and HH for handhole. You can see the rest of the abbreviations here. You also may see a size indicator. For example, 6-inch HP, which would mean 6-inch diameter high pressure. This will assist in calculating the tolerance zone that we'll discuss soon. Now that you know what the marks mean, spend some time walking the site to make sure what you see makes sense. Look for any potential hazards and identify any visible signs of utilities like meters or pedestals. Make sure what is visible has been marked. Review the ticket. Are all utilities accounted for? Are any marks missing or confusing? Address missing marks by calling Digger's Hotline for relocate. Address confusing marks by calling the utility owners or locators. Take pictures before you start to document the marks. Do your best to maintain the marks over the course of the job. Let's talk about private lines and abandoned lines for a minute. Make sure to ask the property owner if there are any private lines in the property before digging. These could be lines such as sprinkler or security systems or propane lines. Don't assume these will not be in a road right-of-way. I have seen recent examples of residential sprinkler systems in the right-of-way between the sidewalk and curb. Especially in rural areas, the area between the meter and the house is commonly considered private. Public utilities do not locate private lines, so they do not fall under a Digger's Hotline ticket. A private locator must be contracted to locate these lines. Visit the Digger's Hotline exhibit to download the list of locators in the state who you can call to mark private lines. It can also be found on the website. There is always the possibility that you will encounter abandoned lines when digging. Never assume an unmarked line is abandoned. Check with the utility owner if you find something that is confusing. If you uncover a line you didn't expect to see, contact the utility directly, since every company has a different abandoned line policy. Utilities would rather send someone to verify versus someone making an assumption and getting hurt or worse. One last thing before you break ground. Remember to review your damage prevention plan with the crew. Hold toolbox or tailgate meetings as often as needed. These inform the crew about potential safety concerns. Identify the site safety hazards regularly, as these can change throughout the day. If conditions suddenly do change, institute a stop work plan so that the danger can be mitigated before work resumes. Encourage all crew members to speak up if they see something they have concerns about, regardless of years of experience. Many years ago, when I first started in the utility industry, I was working with a 40-year veteran of the industry one day prior to his retirement. He took some shortcuts and violated some safety rules and best practices. I did not speak up. He got lucky, survived the job, and was able to enjoy his retirement. This experience has stuck with me my entire career. I should have said something even though I had less than a week on the job and he had 40 years. I think of it often. We got lucky, and that's the main reason I am so outspoken about safety now. It's also important for you seasoned veterans watching to take the time to transfer that knowledge to the younger generations. Your work experiences mean something, and sharing that can assist others in doing things right and being safe. Make sure the crew knows what the emergency plan is should a hit occur. Think about things like designating an emergency meeting place for the crew. Assigning crew members emergency duties like calling 911 or facility owners in the event of a hit. Have an emergency phone list in each company vehicle or piece of equipment to include utility emergency numbers. Make sure everyone knows where the closest hospital is located in case it is needed. If you are confident in the marks you've checked on the job site, you are just about ready to start digging. But before you do, you must understand the tolerance zone. The tolerance zone varies state by state, but in Wisconsin, it is 18 inches from the outer edge of the paint mark or flag placed by the locator plus half the width of the facility. The locator marks indicate the line or pipe, so measurements should be made on either side of those marks. Within this zone, excavators must use soft digging techniques such as hand digging or vacuum excavation to locate the depth and direction of utilities before any machines can be used to continue the excavation. This is also called potholing. Remember to avoid using pointed instruments when verifying facilities. Use a blunt nose shovel instead. Once the facility has been exposed, maintain clearance to 2 times the known limits of the cutting edge of the equipment, or 12 inches, whichever is greater. Using a spotter is an excavation best practice for safely maneuvering around the exposed facility. Transmission companies, whether it's gas, electric, or fiber, almost always require a rep on site if you are excavating within a certain distance of their facility. The utility will let the excavator know if this is required after they have located the site. Remember to support facilities as you are digging around them, as the stress from excavation could compromise the lines. This is an important step often missed. In addition, underground electric facilities, if exposed, need a working clearance. Just last week, a local contractor had 30-plus feet of underground electric primary exposed and laying unprotected in their excavation area, with workers stepping on and around the cable. We were made aware of the safety concerns and worked with the contractor to make the situation safe. Time for another quick quiz. Click the Engagement tab and choose the correct answer. We will reveal the right answers at the end of the session. The path of underground utilities has been marked. Your boss asks you to hand dig to expose the utilities and confirm their depth. What do you do? Number 1, use a blunt trenching tool and carefully pry away dirt to expose utilities and confirm their depth before beginning excavation. Number 2, use a pick to hand dig and expose the utilities. Number 3, borrow an electric post hole digger to expose utilities. Again, answer 1, 2, or 3 and hit submit. We'll check out answers at the end of the session. We've shared many safety tips today to help you avoid coming into contact with utilities. However, even with all of that knowledge, an accident can happen. So let's take some time to review what you should do in the event of a line hit. Let's start by looking at gas. You can use all your senses to help you detect a gas leak. Look for bubbling in wet areas or dry and hard soil and dead plants. Listen for hissing noises from a leaking line. Smell for a rotten egg odor. Know how the properties of natural gas and propane are different. Both are odorless, colorless, and non-toxic. Mercaptan is added to natural gas distribution lines to give it a rotten egg smell. However, be aware this odorant may not be present in transmission lines. The odor may also be stripped from the gas as it flows through the ground from a buried leak. Ethyl mercaptan is added to propane to provide the same scent. Natural gas is lighter than air, so it will dissipate when released into the atmosphere. Propane, however, is heavier than air and can pool into enclosed areas, posing a fire and explosion risk. If you know you have hit a gas line and gas is escaping, here are the steps you should take to remain safe. Stop work. Disable gear, shut down all machinery. Leave the site, moving upwind. Call 911 when safely away from the site. Call the utility to let them know about the hit. Block the area to protect public safety. Additionally, if a gas line has been hit, do not try to fix or operate pipeline equipment. Utilities have specialized equipment and training. If not done or used properly, you could get hurt or worse. Years ago, it was common practice for contractors to pinch a damaged gas line with duct tape or vice grips, but that is extremely dangerous and can make a situation worse. Do not bury the leak, as the gas can migrate underground and cause an explosion later. If a gas line is nicked and gas is not escaping, stop work, call a utility, do not try to fix the damage. Let's take a look at our next quick quiz. Click the Engagement tab and choose the correct answer. We will reveal the right answers at the end of the session. Your excavation company uses trenchless technology or boring equipment. What needs to happen at the start of every job? Number 1, the drill rig has a utility strike alarm that senses the magnetic field around buried power lines, so your company doesn't need to notify anyone that you'll be working around power lines. Number 2, you need to level the job site before work can begin. Number 3, your company must notify Digger's Hotline at 811 at least 3 working days before work can begin so they can arrange to mark the location of utilities. Select 1, 2, or 3 and hit Submit. We'll check out answers at the end of the session. Now let's move on to discuss safety around electrical lines. Always assume any electric cable is energized. Do not handle electric lines. Do not stage construction materials or equipment under power lines, as you risk hitting the lines as you move equipment. Do not dig in power transmission right-of-way. Here are the OSHA guidelines regarding distances from electrical lines. For distribution lines, keep at least 10 feet away. For transmission lines, keep at least 16 feet away. For cranes or other similar equipment, keep at least 20 feet away. Be sure to check OSHA's exhibit for further details. If you happen to hit an electric line, stop work and stay on equipment if it can't be moved until a facility owner cuts power. If equipment can be safely moved, do so. Warn others to stay clear to reduce the chances of touch potential, as ground may be energized. Contact the facility owner to explain the situation. Call 911 if assistance is needed to keep the area safe. If you must exit equipment because your life is in danger, jump clear, land with both feet together, and shuffle away. Why should you shuffle? The live wire in this diagram is located at the X. Electricity is traveling through the ground in all directions from that X. The voltage decreases as the distance from the wire touching the ground increases. So you can see the voltage goes down as the feet move away from the line. If you were to take large steps, your feet could be in 2 different voltage ranges, which increases the chances of serious injury. That's why we shuffle away. Here's a short video that shows the importance of working safely around electric lines.
There are more than 20 million miles of underground utilities in the U.S. An underground utility line is damaged once every 6 minutes nationwide because someone decided to dig without calling 811.
He needs to get that fence installed. I can't keep driving around it. Bob! We gotta get this fence out of here.
Yes. I'll get it in this weekend, I promise.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot for helping.
That was a heavy sucker.
Oh yeah, had to bring out the big auger for this one.
Yeah.
Put it right here.
Sure, yeah. Not a problem. So you called 811 to get the utilities marked?
No, I didn't have time. Plus, where we're digging, we will be good with no electric or anything.
Well, you did seem pretty adamant to get me over here. I understand.
Yeah, the wife really wants to get done today.
Yeah. Not bad at all.
It wasn't. Auger saving the day.
That thing purrs like a dream, I tell you what.
All right, let's grab some posts. fast. All right. Put over here. You got it marked right by the twig. All right. There we go. Yep.
Good, looks like the locator marked all the utilities. Sure does. Makes our job easier and safer.
Each excavation contractor working at an excavation site needs their own locate request. Excavators must contact 811 for a relocate if marks are destroyed or covered by excavation activities, or if excavation does not start within a period of successive days, depending on your state's requirements.
Keep going. Come forward 1 more foot. A little bit more. Stop, you got it.
What's the depth we need to dig the hole?
How's that looking? Tommy, stop!
Treat all overhead and underground power lines like they are live. When a line flashes and stops, it does not mean it is de-energized. Lines can become re-energized at any time. If the equipment cannot be safely removed from the energized cable, you must stay on the equipment. Call the electric utility immediately to get the power turned off. Warn others to stay away from the area as the ground and equipment may be energized. Only render aid or assistance once utility personnel secure the scene and give you the all clear. If you are unable to stay on the equipment due to fire, jump clear of the equipment, making sure to land with both feet together and never touching both the equipment and the ground at the same time. Shuffle or hop away, keeping the feet together until you are at least 50 feet away. Never go further than toe to heel apart. Calling 811 to locate underground utilities before digging and hand digging anytime you are within 18 inches of a marked utility would have prevented these accidents. Calling 811 is free. One call will notify all owners of buried lines to locate their utilities in the area you plan to dig. Make sure to call 811 at least 3 business days before you start digging. By not making the call, you are responsible for damages to underground lines you may hit, which can result in a fatal mistake. Private lines that may be on your property are your responsibility to locate before digging. These lines will not be located by calling 811. Some examples could include most propane lines, underground electric lines from your home to another structure or your well, gas lines to a grill or hot tub, the water line from your well, sprinkler systems, or a septic system. Locators use a standard system for marking underground utilities with both flags and paint. Red is electric lines, yellow is oil, gas, and petroleum, orange is telephone, cable, and internet, blue is well and water service lines, purple is irrigation and reclaimed water, and green is sewer lines.
Let's check out quick quiz number 4. Click the engagement tab and choose the correct answer. We will reveal the right answers at the end of the session. During a digging job, you nick an underground natural gas pipeline. What do you do? Number 1, patch the nick with duct tape and backfill the hole with dirt. Number 2, leave the hole open. Call the utility and inform your supervisor. Number 3, ignore the nick. Maybe no one will notice. Select 1, 2, or 3 and hit submit. We'll check out answers at the end of the session. Now let's look at how to stay safe when you are near fiber optic and communication lines. Remember that damage to these cables can take 911 and hospital communication services offline, as well as putting lives in danger. Damage can interrupt voice, cell, and data services to homes and businesses, costing time and money. This has become even more crucial over the past year with so many people working from home and attending school online. Cost of repairs to fiber optic cable is often higher than other cable types. If you hit a fiber optic line, stop work and secure the area. Call facility owner immediately. Do not look into the end of the damaged cable, as the light can cause eye injury. Barricade the damaged area to protect the public and workers. Here is our final quiz. Click the engagement tab and choose the correct answer. We will reveal the right answers at the end of the session. You are operating heavy equipment that contacts an overhead line. What do you do? Number 1, get off equipment as quickly as possible. Run away. Number 2, stay put. Warn others away. Have someone call the utility. Number 3, knock the wire down so it's not touching the equipment. Select 1, 2, or 3 and hit submit. We'll check out answers at the end of the session. Finally, let's think about what happens at the end of the job. Remember to protect all facilities when you are backfilling. Large clumps of clay or heavy dirt could damage pipes as you are closing the excavation site. Do not bury trash or debris, as it can also harm the lines. If all work has been completed on the site, remove the locator flags. Now for the answers to our quizzes. Quiz number 1. You arrive at the excavation site to find there are no utility locator marks. Your coworker assures you Digger's Hotline was notified. What do you do? Number 1, go ahead and start work. The job has to be done today. Number 2, ask your boss to call Digger's Hotline again. Ask for a new assignment until the utilities are marked. Number 3, hand dig until you find some utilities yourself, then excavate around them with your heavy equipment. Correct answer is number 2. You must wait until the utilities are marked before you dig. Quiz number 2. The path of underground utilities has been marked. Your boss asks you to hand dig to expose the utilities and confirm their depth. What do you do? Number 1, use a blunt trenching tool and carefully pry away dirt to expose utilities and confirm their depth before beginning excavation. Number 2, use a pick to hand dig and expose the utilities. Number 3, borrow an electric post hole digger to expose utilities. Correct answer is number 1. You want to use a blunt, not sharp instrument to carefully move the dirt away so you don't damage any facilities. Even hand tools can cause damage to lines if you aren't careful. Quiz number 3. Your excavation company uses trenchless technology. What needs to happen at the start of every job? Number 1. The drill rig has a utility strike alarm that senses the magnetic field around buried power lines, so your company doesn't need to notify anyone that you'll be working around power lines. Number 2. You need to level the job site before work can begin. Number 3. Your company must notify Digger's Hotline at 811 at least 3 working days before work can begin so they can arrange to mark the location of utilities. Correct answer is number 3. Even if you have strike alarms on your equipment, you must contact Digger's Hotline at least 3 working days before work can begin to have facilities located, because it is the law. Quiz number 4. During a digging job, you nick an underground natural gas pipeline. What do you do? Number 1, patch the nick with duct tape and backfill the hole with dirt. Number 2, leave the hole open. Call the utility and inform your supervisor. Number 3, ignore the hit. Maybe no one will notice. Correct answer is number 2. Leave the hole open so that the utility can come to make any needed repairs to the nick. A nick can compromise the pipe and lead to future problems if not repaired properly and promptly. Quiz number 5. You are operating heavy equipment that contacts an overhead line. What do you do? Number 1, get off equipment as quickly as possible. Run away. Number 2, stay put, warn others away, have someone call the utility. Number 3, knock the wire down so it's not touching the equipment. Correct answer is number 2. Remain on the equipment unless it becomes dangerous to do so. Thank you for your attention today. We hope you all have a safe and productive 2021.